All right, there we go. So we will get started. So we just need maybe a couple of blocks today. Well, we'll definitely need one block. And we will start sitting in Sukhasana. Coming onto our mats. Oh. Using the arms alongside, lengthening up, getting space between the vertebrae, space in the hip sockets. Whatever shifting, squinging you want to do. And then finishing with that. Riding on the sitting bones, hands on the knees. Inhale and exhale, pouring down the sides of the neck, lengthening up through the top of the head. And turning your attention inward, feeling your breath. Letting your breath slow down, letting everything slow down. And then reaching out wide through the collarbones, through the fingertips. Inhale and exhale, breathing the arms up. Inhale and exhale, breathing them down. Let's breathe them up again. And this time we will do the cactus arms, pulling the elbows right, squeezing the shoulder blades into the upper back, lifting all the way back up from the base of the spine, pressing the arms down. And let's breathe the arms up and down. And then we'll breathe up through the right arm, side bending over to the left. Arming back up to the center. Breathing out through the left arm, up and over to the right. And coming back up. Let's breathe the arms up again, both arms up. And breathing them down. Breathing them up, and we'll cactus again. And cactusing. And lifting up. Arms coming down, changing the cross of the legs. And then let's continue. So the arms will go up and down. And this time as we side bend, left arm coming up first, up and over to the right. And a big lift to the top of the head. Right arm up and over to the left. And come back up. And then we will come forward and over, breathing across the back of the body. And then coming up, uncurling the spine vertebrae by vertebrae, back up on top of the sitting bones. Inhale and exhale. And let's slide the legs straight out in front in Dandasana. So have room to come down onto the floor on your mat behind you, having a block nearby, reaching out through the heels and through the legs, flattening those legs into the floor as best you can, maybe using the arms behind for a little support. And coming forward. Doesn't have to be a big forward, just a forward to make a little more space. And coming up. And let's interlock the fingers, bringing the hands up overhead, palms face the ceiling, pressing down and pressing up. So we're going to be making our way down to the floor, and we're going to roll down 1/3 and hold there, roll down another third and hold there, and then one more third and hold, and then into the floor. All right, take another moment, straight lines. And then inhale and exhale, pulling the abdominal muscles back 1/3. So keeping the arms as overhead as you can. So as we continue, you'll probably find you want to bring the arms forward or maybe onto the floor to support. All right, so here we are holding and breathing, scooping actively into those abdominal muscles. 3, 2, and 1. And then another third. Finding that place. Maybe the arms have started to come a little forward. Make sure the shoulders aren't squinching to the ears as we hold and breathe. 3, 2, and 1. And then one more third. So you don't have to keep the arms rigidly straight. If you Letting them have a little bend, let you press the shoulders, blades down a little more. Doing that. My arms actually have a little bend at this point. And here we are holding 3 and 2 and 1. And then continuing down to the floor. Stretching the arms up overhead, release the hands. Maybe a little wrist and ankle circling or squinging for a moment. And bending the knees, putting the block under the legs to lift up and block under the sacrum. We're sort of doing everything getting here. Extending those legs out, reaching through the heels, drawing up through the front of the body into the upper chest. Gently cooperating with the block, resting the backs of the legs down, or perhaps not so gently, but we don't want to go to a place where we're screaming and struggling. Make sure there's lots of room, enough ease for long, deep breaths. And we'll take a few more breaths here. And then bend the knees, lifting up off the block, rolling down vertebrae by vertebrae, landing on the floor. And then let's come back up in the bridge pose. We interlocking the fingers underneath, really rolling those upper arms out. Maybe you can walk the upper arms a little more in and under. Pressing into the feet, pressing into the upper arms, maybe a little bend in the elbows. Inhale and exhale. Few more breaths here. And then rolling down vertebrae by vertebrae, landing on the floor. Sliding the legs back out to straight. And then we'll make our way back up. We'll see if we can do those thirds again. It'll be a little bit less lingering, or whatever means you need to come up. So we're not going to use interlocked fingers, just reach the arms up overhead. So the first third up might just be the upper body lifting. Inhale and exhale. You can keep the arms closer back toward the ears, doing that as we hold 3, 2, 1. And then coming up another third. That's the hard one, getting that lower waist off the floor. Holding here. 3, 2, and 1. And another third. Just because maybe the effort's a little less effortful doesn't mean you don't feel and engage as deeply. 3, 2, 1, and then pouring over the legs into the forward bend. And come up. All right, let's come up. Downward facing dog. Adho Mukha Svanasana. And so go ahead into downward facing dog. Just a minute, I'll be right back. And walking the dog or anything else you want to do there. And then we'll finish up with the dog walking. Being in the best downward facing dog of this moment, nothing moving but the breath. Come forward to the plank. And then setting the knees down, we're going to turn that into the forearm plank. Coming down on the elbows, reaching out through the hands. Feeling a little like we're doing the cactus pull, though our arms are not going wide to the side. And then into the forearm plank. Holding and breathing here. Might be easier on the wrist, but it's not necessarily easier. Just a couple more breaths. And then into the Sphinx. Easing down, untuck the toes, reaching back through the feet. Pulling back with the elbows a little bit more. Wide across the collarbones and upper back. And then tailbone into the floor as we bend the knees, squeezing the upper back and the heels toward each other, pelvis into the floor like a bridge. And extending the legs back out, and then picking yourself up, back up to downward facing dog. Breathing here. Being in this downward facing dog of this moment. And then let's lift the right leg up, reaching down through the left heel. Bending the knee dog at the high fire hydrant. And through to the lunge. Take a moment, really lengthening out that long, low lunge so that we bring our left knee down the floor with strength into Anjayasana, the kneeling. And then let's cactus, pull the arms wide. And then squeezing the elbows together, we're going to the eagle pose, arms crossing the right arm under, left arm over. And then lifting them up, untwining the arms big wide, reach down, side, and then we'll hinge back, flexing the right foot, pulling the toes back, pulling up the thigh. And then we're going to rotate out the right leg, pulling the right little toe toward the floor, rotating out the right leg. A little different stretch probably in the hamstring. And then turning the foot back to parallel to lunge yourself forward to step forward. Into the concave back, halfway up. Holding over. Taking a few breaths here in the forward bend, maybe feeling the difference between your right and left legs. And then a concave back, halfway up. Holding over. And then we will jump or step back through the vinyasa, downward facing dog. And downward facing dog. And let's lift our left leg up. Bending the left knee dog at the high fire hydrant. And through to the lunge. Pausing a moment in the low lunge. Lots of strength, pressing back through the right heel, and then letting the right knee come down with that strength. Coming up in Anjayasana. And then we'll cactus, pull the arms. Squeezing the elbows into the center to the eagle pose. Left arm under. And untwining the arms. And hinging back with the parallel leg first. Pulling the toes back, pulling up the top of the thigh, pulling the hips back. And then we'll rotate out that left leg, pulling the little toe side of the foot toward the floor. And then back to parallel, to lunge forward, to step forward. Breathing here, getting the weight centered onto 2 feet. And a concave back, folding over. This time we'll come all the way up to standing, up to Tadasana. Big front body yawn. Maybe an extra circle with the arms, carrying the arms around and back up overhead. Lifting up big wide, press down, long through the top of the head. Inhale and exhale. Namaste, steadiness. And then a big circle with the shoulders, interlocking the fingers, lifting up the front of the body to lift the chest, to lift the chin. And coming forward, pressing out through the arms and hinging over. And releasing the hands. Concave back, folding over. Jumping or stepping back, vinyasa, downward facing dog. And 3 deep breaths here and downward facing dog. Coming down, sitting back in child's pose. And then we'll come into the forearm plank again. Coming down on the elbows, reaching all the way from the wrists out, the fingertips, pulling the shoulder blades into the upper back. And then walking the feet out, trying to find that plank length here. Remember, the better option is to go a little high rather than sagging a little bit low. And hold and breathe here. One more breath. Into the Sphinx, pulling the shoulders back even more, widening those collarbones. You can untuck the toes. Pointing back through the feet. And tailbone to the floor, bending the knees, squeezing the upper back and the heels toward each other. And extending those legs out again. And we will peel ourselves back up to downward facing dog. Inhale and exhale, and here we are. Let's lift our right leg up. Bending the knee dog at the high fire hydrant. And through to the lunge. And we'll turn to the elephant rider. Feet on the diagonal at 45 degrees, pressing those knees out. And maybe a little feeling of the outer heels pulling into the center line. All right, coming up to the three-pointed star, rotating those legs into the hip joints, right up and out the fingertips. And then we change the focus there a little to the center in the lower abdomen and reaching out both through those fingertips and down through the feet into the floor, three-pointed star. And then pressing the arms to parallel, turning the feet to parallel. Inhale and exhale. And let's rotate our right leg out 90 degrees into the warrior two. Inner thigh to inner knee to center of the foot. Reaching the sitting bones down, lengthen the sides of the body up, shoulders down. And then dancing warrior. Inhale and exhale up and away. And we'll go to the side angle. Inhale and exhale, side angle. You can keep the left arm up to the ceiling, or maybe it reaches long over the ear. Don't let it flop down, unless you're going to deliberately side bend it. And then we'll do that back and forth. Inhale and exhale, dancing warrior. Inhale and exhale, and side ankle pose. And keep going. Maybe about twice more. Or not, you can hold somewhere. Eventually, we will be done with our twice more, finishing our last side angle. And then as we come up out of that, letting the right leg straighten into the side bend with the straight right leg. And into Trikonasana, the triangle. And breathing. Body comes into more of a place of stillness. The breath keeps moving. Slowing that exhale down a little more. And with a big inhale and exhale, coming down to the lunge. And we will step forward into the concave, back halfway up, folding over. Couple deep breaths here. Coming up to standing, big front body yawn. And around to Namaste. And then we'll tree pose, picking up that right leg. So maybe you're fine there. Maybe you're going to go hold on to a wall or other support somewhere. And then let's reach down through the left leg, bringing the right leg. Steady bones going down, sides of the body going up, shoulders going down. And reaching a little more down through that left leg, bringing the right leg back down to the left. And then here we are at the front of the mat. I'm at my other front of the mat, but it's still the front of the mat. And a big inhale up into the front body yawn. And exhale, diving. Concave back, folding over. Vinyasa, downward facing dog. And then we will go on the left. Lifting the left leg up. Bending the knee dog at the high fire height. Through to the lunge. And turning to the elephant runner. Pressing the knees out, maybe pulling the heels in, or whatever you're feeling there, or whatever you feel you need to stretch or try to feel. And then three-pointed star, rotating those thigh bones into the hip joints, reaching up through the fingertips. And then moving into the center of the body, radiating out through the fingertips, through both legs into the And pressing the arms down to parallel, turning the feet to parallel. And we'll rotate the left leg out 90 degrees. And into the warrior two. Inner thigh to inner knee to center of the foot. Sitting bones heavy downward. Sides going up. Shoulders going down. And then dancing warrior, left arm up and away. And into the side angle, Parsvakonasana. Whatever version you're going to do, maybe keeping that right arm out from the shoulder, maybe bringing it over the ear. If you want to side bend it, make sure that's a deliberate and not just a lazy sort of flop with your right arm. And then inhale and exhale, back up to the warrior two. And inhale and exhale, back to the side angle. And we'll keep going. Let's see, if you were with my timing, I think we did it 5 more times. But sometimes if you think about 5 more times, you're tired before you've even done 5 more times. So just doing each one as it comes. Keeping that breath moving. Coming to a stop sooner if you want. And eventually we will be in our last Parsvakonasana side angle. And then coming up, straightening that left leg all the way up into the side bend, pulling up that left side. And into this triangle, tilting. Letting that body resolve into a little more stillness. Breath keeps moving. Maybe there's a little more length in the exhale to be had. And then a big inhale and exhale. Down to the lunge and stepping forward. Into the concave, back halfway up. Folding over. Coming up to standing, big front body yawn. And around to Namaste in front. And then we'll tree pose. This time we'll bring the left leg up. Reaching down into the floor through the right leg, bringing the left leg up. Sitting bones and tailbone heavy down to the floor. Sides going up, shoulders going down. Reaching a little more down through that right foot to bring the left leg. And here we are at the front of the mat. And we'll release the hand. Big circle with the shoulders to interlock the fingers. Be lengthening up the front of the body to lift the chest, to lift the chin. And coming. And release the hands. Let's step back with the left leg. And we will come up in the warrior number one. It could be the high lunge if you would rather. And then we'll circle the arms around, lifting up the whole front of the body, grounding the sitting bones and tailbone down at the same time, though, as we breathe the arms around. And Namaste. And let's step forward into the concave back, holding on. Stepping back with the right leg and coming up in the warrior one or the high lunge. And then breathing those arms around, keeping the sitting bones grounded down, especially if the arms come back up over. And Namaste. And into the floor, stepping forward. Into the concave back, halfway up, holding over. And then we will jump or step back, vinyasa, downward facing dog. Three deep breaths here in downward facing dog. Coming down, sitting back in child's pose. And here we go, forearm plank once again. Same little sequence. So of course it's a different little sequence here at the end of class. All right, coming on to the forearms. Trying to reach all the way from the elbows to the fingertips. And walking the feet back, finding that plankness, or maybe a little bit higher. When in doubt, pull those abdominal muscles up and think cat back. And hold and breathe. Every breath in action through the body. And then into the Sphinx. Untucking the toes. And bending the knees, squeezing the upper back and heels toward each other. And lengthening the legs up, coming down, forehead on the and feeling ourselves up, maybe nice indulgent cobra for a couple breaths. And we'll be going to Namaste and Drasana. So I'm back to being the right-left mirror now. So we're doing each side, so it doesn't matter that much. Taking the left leg down with the bent leg or the straight leg as needed, crossing the right foot over. Long through the top of the head. Here too, we have the sitting bones going down, sides going up, shoulders going down, and twisting to the right. Inhale and exhale. And then maybe taking that left arm across if you want. And coming back to the center, we'll switch to cross of the legs. Take a couple breaths settling in here on this side. And then we'll twist to the left. Inhale and exhale. Maybe right arm across. And back to the center. Disentangling those legs. And coming down and into Shavasana. And if there's any other little thing you feel you need to do, doing that, but doing it as Shavasana-like as you can. Inhale and exhale, letting go. Softening and closing the eyes. And feeling your breath. Inhaling and exhaling. And then breathing back into your body, into the room. Moving the fingers and toes, getting the circulation going. Stretching the arms up overhead. And bending the knees to gently make your way up to sitting. And sitting in any comfortable position with a long spine. Taking a few more moments, sitting quietly inside yourself. Namaste. Thank you for coming.